Welcome back to DBL. The world is always changing, and so are the words we use to describe it. But some people are very upset all over one university's list of potentially problematic words and phrases. They say it's woke culture going too far. But let's see what you guys think. Let's see what we think. So here's one example. They say instead of saying rule of thumb, you should say as a general rule. Rule of thumb allegedly comes from an old British law allowing men to beat their wives with sticks no wider than their thumb.
Our mutual friend Brandon brought this up, and I thought it was such a good point. I grew up, and I think we all grew up with the term wife beater for an A-frame T-shirt. And I remember being in like a Target and seeing it, and it's called an A-frame. And I was like, oh, that's the name of it. But for years, I literally thought that was the name. And I don't think anybody, I don't feel comfortable saying it now. So
what about rule of thumb now that you know the context?
I wouldn't say that normally because I'm not in a Dickens novel. But yeah, I'm not.
Okay, let's get to the next one. Okay, so Jeff, the next word are policeman, congressman, or freshman. Instead, use words like police officer, congressperson, and first-year student. These words are better because they're not gender specific. Do you think that's going too far or no?
No, there's a lot of them that are definitely going too far, but I think we've kind of adapted this already, right? You know, policewoman, I think we've kind of moved to that place, but there's some other ones on this list that I'm not too happy about.
Save it.
All right, Erica, instead of using words like victim or survivor, you should instead use person-first language like person who has experienced something. What do you think about that one?
I think I gravitate towards survivor for anyone who has experienced a trauma. I think that we all experience things, but when you're talking about varying degrees of trauma, I think survivor is a very empowering way of referencing said person.
All right, and next, instead of saying crazy, insane, or wild, you should instead say that's bananas, uncool, or disappointing. That's because the problematic words could make light of people living with mental health conditions.
Here's where I'm going to jump in. I do say bananas a lot. I call everybody banana head or you're going bananas. I'm still saying you're crazy, okay? Even though people take that as offense, I'm still using that word but substituting it with bananas. So I'm still calling you crazy, but I'm saying bananas, and that's okay with people. That's what we're doing now. We're just covering up the words that we mean to say and then using another word like banana to describe it, and people are like, I'm good with that. Get out of here. You're bananas.
All right, even the phrase spirit animal is listed as problematic. Instead, you should say favorite animal. That's because in certain cultures, spirit animals refer to an animal spirit that helps guide a person through a journey, and using it strips the term of its significance.
Okay, I spoke too soon. I'm more angry about this one.
Favorite animal?
No, I've heard this one a lot when it comes to trivializing or almost treating like a marginalized group of people as a caricature.
What are you talking about?
That's not the context that I generally use it. I do say spirit goddess when I'm referring to a woman who I admire, because I wouldn't call a woman I admire an animal.
That's exactly right. You just said it right there. Some people don't want to be called an animal.
Well, I used the phrase spirit animal on the show Monday, and my girl who watches indigenous TikTok then told me when I got home, we had a conversation, and that's how people guide themselves through their lives, indigenous people, and it's very offensive. It's not like in the world offensive, but it's offensive to them. And I made it analogy because I thought about it in my office. I was like, it's almost like we're like on television, you can usually say the D word, but GD you cannot say because God is very important in people's lives, as it should be. So I think it's that same thing of just like we all have a higher power that we aspire to be like, and it would be no different than taking God, in vain as spirit animal.
Let's go there, because I'd never use GD, right? That's just because of my religion, and I don't believe that. If someone said that, I'm not going to write a letter to them and or write on social media and say, I'm shaming you for this. I'm not being offensive to anyone when I say my spirit animal might be an eagle. I'm not offending anyone, and this is why I don't like people. It's because I don't want to get around new people, and if I say my spirit animal is an eagle, and they're like, did you hear what Jeff said at dinner? It's like,
what if they pulled you aside and just said, hey, I know you didn't mean anything by it, but like, I'm from this tribe, and like,
you know what? You're right. I would respect that. If someone,
but I think that's what you would do too.
But how it's addressed.
Right. You're absolutely right. But if I don't know. It's just sometimes it's hard to deal with, like when you're not trying to be offensive, but someone takes offense to that. And it's like, if you pull me aside and tell me that, but I respect you as a person. If you're just pulling me aside at a restaurant and you're correcting me for my actions, never talk to me ever again in your whole life, ever.
You want context.
No, I want people to get away from me. That's what
I think that's really what this segment
that's
was
what the whole
about.
thing's about. If I'm not openly being offensive to you on purpose, there's a nicer way to correct someone else instead of going on social media and shaming them or coming for their job or digging into their
When you shame
past.
someone, it makes you like back yourself into a corner and you don't want to learn. But if you educate someone in a very compassionate way,
Right.
Erica educated me the other day when
I
we were
got
talking about
educated on
slavery.
Monday.
She said, "Don't." Oh, we got a heart out. Okay, we'll be right back.